Oh boy, this is gonna be take 3. All right. Yo, Dark Matter, sponsor me. I love your coffee. So the other day, I wrote a blog post on my website, thedmgt.com, go check it out, recommending my take on home office necessities for those of us that have the luxury to work from home these days. Which then got me thinking, why not make a video of my home office and studio setup? I will say I have slowly built up to what I have now over the last 4 years or so, but I'll break this out into 2 sections. My office/studio setup and then my gaming setup. Now here's an overall view of my room. My instruments sort of take center stage here because 1, they take up the most space and can't really be stacked, and 2, they provide quick and easy access when I'm playing or working as I'm finding inspiration. On my right side here, I have my gaming station where I have my PC and PS4 Pro. And then towards the left, I have my workstation and studio. This is where 90% of my work gets done here. I rarely work on my gaming PC, but this is where I do my production. For my gaming station, you'll notice the 3 biggest things are my monitor, PC, and PS4 Pro. The monitor is a 27-inch Acer Predator X27 that runs in 4K. It runs natively 120 Hz, but it can be overclocked to 144 Hz, runs HDR, and has G-Sync. So obviously to run a monitor like that, you need a pretty solid PC, so we'll talk about my build. Back in October, I upgraded my old PC with a whole new system. So this case here is the NZXT H510 Elite. It's running an Intel i7 9700K 8-core processor. I have a Gigabyte WindForce RTX 2080 Super, so it is factory overclocked. I was planning on doing some custom water looping here at first, but honestly I'm not doing much overclocking these days, so I just have it air-cooled with a Cooler Master Hyper 212 Black Edition, which I really like because it's pretty stealthy. Now, of course, as you saw, the fans are RGB. Those are 4 NZXT Air RGB2s, 3 140mm fans, and 1 120mm fan. So I have 2 intaking from the front and then 2 on the back exhausting. I have it up on my desk because it helps with my carpeting. I don't want to choke the system. And then for my RAM, I have 32 gigabytes of Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro. That's 2 16 gigabyte sticks. That'll give me the option to upgrade to 64 gigabytes down the line. Most AAA games I have are actually running a steady 60 FPS and some even higher, with the exception of really graphically intense games like Shadow of the Tomb Raider, or when you turn on ray tracing. I'm pretty happy with this build, although it's likely overkill for maybe 90% of people. There is a bit of a typo here. I know it says 980, but it's actually 2 1TB M.2 SSDs of Samsung Evo 970s in RAID 0. For my peripherals, I have a mechanical Corsair K70 RGB. This keyboard is using Cherry MX switches. And for my mouse, I have a SteelSeries Rival 600. Works pretty well for my gaming needs. To the right of my tower, I have my PlayStation 4 Pro. I have it standing vertically on a cooling dock. It does have fans, but really I just have it because it saves me some space while charging my controllers. And then for audio, I'm using Bose Companion 2 desktop speakers. And then I'm plugged in, wired to my PC with HyperX Cloud 2s and an Antline mod mic. And for my PlayStation 4, I used a SteelSeries Arctis Pro wireless, and that's what this little device here does to provide high fidelity audio. Go check out my headphone roundup video if you're more interested in my headphones. Now for my workstation, I'm using a 2016-inch MacBook Pro with Touch Bar. This unfortunately does have the old keyboard, but what are you going to do? As for the stand, I have an M stand that really helps kind of level out my laptop with my monitor, so it's kind of a dual monitor setup. As for the monitor, this is an LG 27-inch 4K. It's a little bit more mid-range, but it helps because it has better color accuracy, which helps when I'm producing. For my peripheral here, I'm using the Keychron K2 Bluetooth mechanical keyboard for Mac. This is using Gateron Brown switches, and for my mouse, I do have a Logitech MX Master 2S. Now for me, the most interesting side of this setup is my audio equipment. So these are Klipsch R15M speakers that are powered through this Pile amplifier that is then connected to my Focusrite Solo and my Audio-Technica LP60X record player. I record into an Audio-Technica AT2020 microphone, which is great for vocals and podcasting. This desk is a little bit bigger than my gaming one, which is great for writing, and my other peripherals, such as the Arturia Beatstep and an Akai MIDI controller that I also use.
My chair is a little bit gimme. It is a DX Racer, but it works well. I like the high back that it has, so I just use this one chair for both my gaming station and workstation. I'll do a quick rundown of my instruments. I have a Casio Hammer Action 88 key piano, and then for my crown jewel, I have a 2019 Gibson Les Paul Modern in burgundy with humbuckers, a Jackson SLX Soloist in burnt cherry sunburst with the Floyd Rose bridge and EMG pickups, and an Epiphone acoustic electric guitar. I actually don't know exactly what model this is. For my amp, I have a Marshall MG100 DFX.
Overall, I'm pretty happy with the way that my home studio and office have come along. As you can see, I do have foam panels up on the wall that really helps with sound dampening, and it's really helpful when I'm producing music or recording my podcast, or obviously as I'm recording this video. Sound dampening isn't really a necessity unless you're content creating with audio, or if you really want to upgrade your consumption experience. Now, a few things that I think are necessities are having an adequately sized monitor for your needs, and as big a desk as your living space will allow you. Trust me, having enough real estate to do the things that you need to do when you're working or you're playing video games or you're writing or you're reading really does make a difference. Make it your own. Add little trinkets and things that personalize your space, but don't overdo it. Having a cluttered workspace kind of defeats the whole purpose of having that additional space in the first place. Peripherals, on the other hand, should feel like an extension of you. So find a keyboard and mouse that you like, be it wired or wireless, mechanical, non-mechanical, ergonomic, standard. That's really going to be up to you. Obviously, as you noticed, I use both, wired for my gaming setup and wireless for my workstation. Now, I will say if you're starting to set up your space for the first time, you're going to have to experiment and play with things for a little bit. Those of us that have had space for a little while have discovered what we like and what we can live without. For example, I'm considering switching up the desk for my gaming station as I've discovered that I don't really care for storage space in the desk itself. I'm perfectly fine using totes or containers that hold any notebooks, pens, cables on the side, and it's modular. That's what works for me. And then on the audio side of things, that's where I do think people should invest a little bit more on. Having some quality headphones or some speakers really does make a difference. There are a variety of studies that show that having music in the background as you're working helps with your focus and retention levels, but obviously I'm a little biased on the topic because I enjoy music and audio things very much. But really just pick some things, try them out, see what works best for you. If there's anything from my home office that you'd like me to do a more in-depth review on, just let me know in the comments, or even hit me up with anything that you would change for my current setup. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and I'll catch y'all next time.